the short answer is that Turkey is not looking to be or to serve as a model, but can Turkey be a model or not in this on this particular issue or on some other issues for the Arab world? It's an issue which has been debated for a while now. Turkey definitely can serve as an example or as a source of inspiration for our Arab neighbors, because Turkey has been through a democratization process for a while, especially when it started accession negotiations with the European Union. We had to adopt European legislation, European acquis communautaire in our system. So this process allowed Turkey to implement better governance rules, better standards in the functioning of the state organizations, and rule of law, the supremacy of rule of law in the country. So maybe in this regard, Turkey, being a country which is implementing a transformation in its democracy, can serve as a test case for the Arab countries. Governance might be part of this landscape as well.
I think the basic premise that the Turkish foreign policy is based on with respect to this region is conflict resolution, and they are trying to mediate between the conflicts as much as they can, and they are promoting stability of the region, not necessarily for the others but for themselves and for Turkey, because it's important that we live in a stable region, and the region, in a region the problems are solved, and I think this is the vision that they have. And moreover, they are in a position to better understand the region, and they are not indifferent to the problems of the region, and also through them that we are able to invest more heavily and get the economic profits as much as possible, and contribute to the stability of the region at the same time. Well, I mean, some of them were not really devised, and some of them were devised, and I think the undevised ones have been much more effective. The confrontation between Israeli President and Prime Minister Erdogan in Davos in early 2009 was not designed, and they were there in order to reconcile their differences after Gaza attempt, but it had enormous impact on the Arab public opinion. And the other one is the soap operas produced for the Turkish audience, and all of a sudden they became, all these stars became celebrities in the Arab world, and people are watching them, and this was not designed for the Arab world, and it was totally coincidental. And there are, of course, the other policies like conflict resolution, mediating between Syria and Israel, and trying to contribute to the stability of Lebanon through peacekeeping and through diplomatic mediation and so on and so forth. These were the designed policies, but I think undesigned ones were much more effective than the designed ones. They are not trying to export, but the model has been taken. Well, not by themselves, and I don't think they have such a desire. But they of course, we are all delighted to be taken as a model. It's flattering, results that we find when you find out, for instance, in late 2010 that 66% of the Arabs are taking Turkey as a role model. It's of course, a very good result for all of us. But this doesn't necessarily mean that either civil society or Turkish government are trying to market our own model to anywhere. But this is something which can be emulated. But I mean, in totality should be emulated, and not only as you know, a combination of Islam and democracy, but there are also other dimensions which should be, you know, replicated in the region too.
On the whole, it is still positive. I think they have some, perhaps, reservations, especially given the ambiguity of Turkish policies toward what is taking place in Libya, what is taking place in Syria, Bahrain too. But on the whole, it is still positive compared to other powers. I mean, Israel and Iran. So the balance sheet, as far as Turkey is concerned, is still positive. This is what we were talking about in the last session. We tend to be focused too much on foreign policy, but what is happening in the so-called Arab street are still domestic issues. I mean, foreign policy issues are still mentioned, the relationship with Israel, Arab-Israeli conflict, the relationship with the US certainly, but the masses of the people revolted actually for domestic reasons, much more than for foreign policy reasons. Bouazizi in Tunisia was because he was unemployed and couldn't even get a license to be a street peddler. When it caught off in Egypt, it was about corruption, unemployment, misgovernance generally. So even though the international press doesn't go very much into that, these are the real issues. I mean, how you can eliminate corruption, how you can narrow down the gap between the poor and the rich.
Increase the middle class. Increase the middle class.
Increase the middle class, achieve economic growth, but also social justice. All these issues are important. And one of the big questions is the relationship between religion and politics. What kind of state you will have. As they put the question, would it be a religious state or a civilian state? And I think in that Turkey is still one of the most important formulas, the Turkish formula, especially now with the increasing role of the military in Egypt, in the sense that the military council, not only that the military have arbitrated before Mubarak fell, and in fact pressured him to give up, but also they are in the driver's seat now. With the military council, the discussion seems to be very animated next door. With the military council is in power, so obviously some people are concerned about, in addition to the relationship between religion and the state, also the relationship between civil and military rule. Turkey certainly will serve, the Turks don't like the word model, they talk about being a source of inspiration. And certainly the relationship between the government and the military, where the military was the dominant element, and the AKP managed to actually curb the influence of the military. In this sense, I think lots of people in Egypt and in Tunisia too would like to see how the civilian government in Turkey managed to do that and keep primacy of civilian rule. So that is a very important question. So two domestic issues really to recapitulate. Relationship between the military and the cabinet, civilian rule generally, and number two, the role of religion in conducting the state, establishing a sort of liberal democracies. So these are two big issues that concern at the moment the Arab street, not only in Egypt, but I think across all the countries that have gone for a change. The temptation of Turkey is that it has achieved so much economic improvement, so much international status, and people would like to see how they can also do that. Especially we are generally in the Arab world now going through a period of transition. I mean, people know what they have achieved, they know their objectives, but they don't know how to go from A to B. And in that period of transition, I think the Turkish example would be looked at very thoroughly.